Good. I always do this, y'all, don't I? Good morning, great morning to you. This is Tina C. Hines, your life transformation specialist, here to continue our conversation about surrendering. Yesterday, we had an amazing discussion about carrying around a huge reservoir of negative feelings, attitudes, and belief. And how it threatens from within and without. And at the conclusion, I said we are going to hit or tap into three major ways of handling our feelings. Initially, I was going to do that. I was going to do all three ways in one sitting. However, because I'm trying to keep these videos in 30-minute increments, I am going to break them down. So there will be three individual videos done over the course of the next few days and into next week that focus on handling the feelings, the three major ways of handling the feelings: suppression, expression, and escape. So while Facebook brings you all in here, I am going to take a moment, and I hope that you will do the same, to share with 5 of your sister friends so they can continue to hear this amazing topic of discussion. Let me just say that I need to be better at multitasking. Just give me 1 second. If I don't respond to your comments, I will come back to them, because sometimes I am not seeing them in the news feed as I do these videos from my phone, and I don't want to keep looking to the left to look at the computer to see who has commented. So I want to respect the time and our actuality. But again, I'm glad to have you here. I am Tina C. Hines, Life Transformation Specialist. I work with women who are on a journey from hurting to healing to happiness. We have been discussing over the past few days surrendering, allowing ourselves to surrender in order to attract what we desire. If you've missed the past 2 Facebook Lives that have been done, you are welcome to scroll this page and you'll find the replays, or you can go on to YouTube, which is also Tina C. Hines, and you will find the replays of our discussion about surrendering. So today we are going to tap into one of the major ways of handling, one of the 3 major ways of handling feelings. Today we're going to focus on suppression and repression. Suppression and repression. You can write that in the comments. Suppression and repression. These are the most common ways in which we push feelings down and put them aside. In repression, this happens unconsciously. In suppression, it happens consciously. We don't want to be bothered by feelings, and besides, we don't know what else to do with them but suppress them. We sort of suffer through them and try to keep functioning as best we can. The feelings that we select to be suppressed or repressed are in accord with the conscious and unconscious programs that we carry within us from social, custom, and family training. Anybody ever recall when, probably my age demographic, I'm 52, the one thing that was always, I don't want to say always, it was a known thing, was we don't discuss outside of our household what's going on inside the house. We don't discuss what's going on inside this household outside the house. And so many times there are some challenges that are being faced in the household that there's a sense of fear of discussing it outside the household, because mom or dad is going to put you on punishment, beat your ass, or something's going to happen. So many times we suppress whatever it is that we may be feeling at that time. The pressure of suppressed feelings is later felt as, I want y'all to listen to all of this. If you hear anything that sounds like you, say me. No. If you hear anything that sounds like you, press the number 1. The pressure of suppressed feelings is later felt as irritability, mood swings, tension in the muscles of the neck and back, headaches, cramps, menstrual disorders, colitis, indigestion, insomnia, hypertension, allergies, and other somatic conditions. This is what we feel when we are suppressing certain situations in our lives, certain challenges that we have faced in our lives, especially when it stems from growing up. When we repress a feeling, it is because there is so much guilt and fear over the feeling that it is not even consciously felt at all. It becomes instantly thrust into the unconscious as soon as it threatens to emerge. The repressed feeling is then handled in a variety of ways to ensure that it stays repressed and out of awareness. Of these mechanisms used by the mind to keep the feeling repressed, denial, everybody write denial, and projection are perhaps the best known methods, as they tend to go together and reinforce each other. Denial. The acronym for denial is don't even notice I am lying. The acronym for denial is don't even notice I am lying. Sometimes we deny certain things when in all actuality we are lying to ourselves. Denial results in major emotional and major rational, I may have pronounced that wrong, blocks. It is usually accompanied by mechanisms of projection because of guilt and fear. We repress the impulse or feeling, and we deny its presence within us. It's like saying, ask a situation happening in your life. You get into an argument or you get into a deep discussion and the question is asked, are you mad? And you'll say, no, I'm not mad. When deep down inside you're mad, you may be disappointed, but deep down inside that first instinct is, I'm mad as hell. And instead of saying that, because half the time we repress a lot of what we're feeling inside to avoid hurting the other person's feeling, to avoid hurting the person on the receiving end's feelings, or to avoid an argument that's going to get out of hand. So many times it's like, I'm going to choose to bite my tongue versus saying anything at all. But deep in the back subconscious of your mind, you're sitting there thinking, you're replaying the situation in your head, and you're thinking about what you could have done differently, what you could have said differently. It's on repeat, and you feel like you've missed the opportunity. Anybody ever been there? Instead of feeling it, we project it onto the world and those around us. We experience the feeling as if it belonged to them. They then become the enemy, and the mind searches for and finds justification to reinforce the projection. Blame is placed on people, places, institutions, food, climatic conditions, astrological events, social conditions, fate, God, luck, the devil, foreigners, ethnic groups, political rivals, and other things outside of ourself. Projection is the main mechanism in use by the world today. It accounts for all war, strife, and civil disorder. Hating the enemy is even encouraged in order to become a good citizen. We maintain our own self-esteem at the expense of others, and eventually this results in social breakdown. The mechanisms of projection underlies all attack, violence, aggression, and every form of social destruction. Suppression and repression. So now, let's have a talk, ladies. Let's talk about this. If you've ever experienced depression, write the number 1 in the comments. When you experience depression, there is a culprit of the depression. You may not know in the beginning who or what the culprit is. But the depression didn't just miraculously say, hey, Cherie, how you doing? I think I'm going to make you depressed this week, this month, this year. Hey, Elena, you feel like being depressed? Well, come on, let me just help you. Let me just help you along. Depression stems from a situation in your life that perhaps you have suppressed or repressed. And it comes out of nowhere. It hits you like a ton of bricks, or it hits you sort of subtly. And you don't realize that you're going through it, especially if it's the first time you've ever gone through it. And it's like, I know something is happening. I'm uncertain of exactly what it is, but I don't feel 100% myself. So you have to start thinking and processing, and sometimes we have to reach out to other people, because even our besties or some family members may notice you're a little bit different. Because when you get depressed, your behaviors start to shift. You eat more, you eat less. Your bed becomes your best friend. You're less social than you normally are. Your body starts responding in different ways. The slightest thing will make you cry. And you're sitting back and you're asking yourself, what the hell is going on? Anybody ever been there? Because when you think about the culprit of your depression, you start thinking about utilizing other entities as the scapegoat. Like, no, that's not it. Or some people who this drives me, this is one thing that personally drives me crazy. The devil is busy. The enemy is busy. No, the devil's not busy. The enemy's not busy. Somebody did some shit to you, and give them the ownership because they did it. Don't allow the devil, the enemy, or whatever you choose to call it, to be the scapegoat. Somebody did something. Somebody said something. And what did you do? You didn't speak on it. You suppressed it. You pushed it way back in the back of time, in the back of your mind, and decided, I'm not going to address it. Nope. I'm not going to address it. And then you're like, Are y'all still here with me? Can you give me a thumbs up? Because I'm seeing that I got an error message. Okay, there we go. So, you suppressed or repressed it. Thank you, Elena. And now it's like, I gotta go and deal some shit. The devil said, don't blame it on me. It's like, so if I can't use the devil and the enemy as my scapegoat, that means I'm going to have to address it. That means I'm going to have to address the person, the situation. I'm going to have to deal with it. I don't know if I'm ready to deal with it. But when it comes to surrendering and you choosing to work through whatever it is that was the culprit of your depression, you start to feel lighter. Release me. Let me go. You start to feel lighter. Some of y'all, some of you, y'all know I've been down south too long. I just want you to think about this. You don't have to share, but I want you to think about it because you push something in the back of your mind. What is it that you are repressing or suppressing that is causing angst and anxiety and inner turmoil on your vessel, on your body? Because if it's doing all of that within, it's doing a hell of a lot more without. But when you start dealing with that inner turmoil, you just observe how the emotional weight you carry starts to fall off in the physical form. The emotional weight you carry will start to fall off in the physical form. You just have to be willing to work through it. Now, some people, they choose to work through it. And then there are some people who are playing through it. Failing to recognize the impact it will have when you're serious about it. The one way I know is because I've seen it up close and personal in the 9 years that I've been working in this space. I've seen the women who have actually been committed to the process of no longer being in denial of the destruction that was internally, that they were committed to working through. Whether it was with me, whether it was with someone else, whether it was with a therapist, I've seen it. At some point, you have to ask yourself, how much am I willing to suppress? And how long will I last through this suppression? That turns into depression. And at what stake am I making everything else a priority and allow it to overshadow my happiness, which should be the main priority? At some point, the dent in your bed is going to become uncomfortable. And it's going to require you to get out of it. Let me tell you about depression. when I say it sneaks up on you, it really does. And as someone who has experienced it up close and personal, too personal, it's very uncomfortable. It's some uncomfortable shit. And when it comes out of nowhere because you've never experienced it before, you're uncertain. How do you work through it? Many times we have in the back of our minds when people say, oh, you can't go to therapy. Therapy is not for crazy. It's for crazy people. No, therapy is for people who need to have a safe space to talk about some challenges that they have suppressed in order to experience a breakthrough to begin their journey of healing. It's work. And when you're committed to it, you'll see results. When you're consistent with it, you'll see results. And when I was going through and on the verge, ready to come out of the depression, I recognized that I was angry at someone. I was angry because of lies. I was angry because of certain situations that were not shared. And I was angry because of responsibility that was placed on my shoulders. And instead of verbalizing it, I suppressed it. And when it was suppressed, it led me to my bed. It led me to merely existing every day, getting up, going through a routine, going to work, getting work done, coming back home, getting in the bed, barely able to cook, hardly functioning. But something eventually had to give. Because that is not how our higher power wants us to live our life. So you get people positioned in front of you to ask you if you're okay. And that happened to me. The question, are you okay? Everybody write denial in the comments. I'm fine. Those were the words that rolled off my lips. I'm fine. The reason why we typically will say, I'm fine, is because we know if we say anything different, it's going to lead to an uncomfortable discussion. So, I'm fine is the easiest way to end the conversation. But right after I said, I'm fine, I blinked because I noticed I was lying. I was lying to myself, and I was lying to the person who asked me. So I said, I'm fine. And And then I said, no, I'm not. I'm not fine. And it's taking every ounce of strength for me not to crawl underneath my desk in the fetal position and cry and never want to get up. I couldn't say, I need help. All I could say is, I'm trying hard not to get under my desk in the fetal position and never get up. Although the words, I need help, did not roll off my lips, the person knew exactly what I was not saying. And went into action and asked, how can I best support you? And that was the start of me no longer suppressing and repressing that inner turmoil that was wreaking havoc on my body. Ladies, you always have the gift of free will to begin taking steps to transform your emotional health, your well-being. You just simply have to stop being in denial and be willing to surrender. That's it. Be willing to surrender. Be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations in order for you to get what you need. The universe has been providing you with many signals. Perhaps this discussion was one of them. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is today the day that I'm going to listen? As always, I am here, and you can schedule some time for us to have a conversation by going to my website, tinachines.com. If this message spoke to you, please share it with 5 phenomenal women. When we meet again talking about surrendering, we will be discussing expression. I want to wish you all an amazing